Welcome to this morning's episode of Chaos and Caffeine. Today, we are going to take a look at shop floor coffee. In fact, we're going to try something called hydraulic fluid. So I went ahead because I didn't see K Cups on their website. And if we get a chance, perhaps during this podcast, Mike Franz will join us from the company. If he manages to get on here, then we will be discussing, where they came from and everything else. So in this case, hydraulic fluid says intense flavor that powers through the heaviest starts. So we set up this morning because it is shop floor with some donuts from Juicy O's and of course the hydraulic fluid, which I'll describe what's happening here. As a matter of fact, what I'll end up doing is I've got a video of what's going on here. Perfect with the name hydraulic fluid. If I move the caffeine around a little bit, it sticks to the sides. So it is very definitely dark, very dark roast. So not a strong aroma, kind of subtle, which is good. But we'll see. I've been challenged on a couple of things. So let me show you the website first, because I've been holding off drinking this coffee. So this will be an actual reaction. Let me see if I can get this up here. So the website is shopfloorcoffee.com. And there it is. There's some of their stuff: hydraulic fluid, weekend BS, first shift, and red shop towel. And I'm sure there's other ones there. And then they donate about 20% of the proceeds to workforce development. And in any case, let's go ahead and get back to our taste test. Okay, so let's go ahead and in the Chaos Engineer cup, like I said, definitely if I move it around, it sticks to the sides, and I'll put a video of that looking into the cup, add it to this. Oh. Not too bad. Not bitter, but there is definitely a little bit of a tang to it. So you definitely know you're drinking the coffee. So let's go ahead and I've had it set up for just a little bit. So then I also have my backup cup in case I go a little long today. That's keeping it definitely warmer. You can definitely tell it's probably a little bit stronger. And of course, have to have the donut with it. So now it's official. Kind of reminds me of a little bit of carrier coffee where it tasted kind of like JP5 and regret. This has got a little better taste to it. But that definitely like that sticks a little bit to the sides. So, anyways, um, if Mike gets a chance to join us, fantastic. The shop floor coffee was recommended to me by both Greg Christensen of CMMS Radio and Sonia Mathura, who, along with Rich Wurzbach, they do the Grease Thief live podcast, as well as a lot of stuff in industry. We'll talk about that more at another time. And of course, Bob Latino, who's kind of my go-to mentor and guru for root cause failure analysis. So in any case, what I want to talk about today, and if Mike gets a chance to jump on, he will. Things do happen, but I put this one off a little too long. I wanted to get it done on Saturday. So past couple of weeks, I've been at a couple of conferences, and there's still a lot of focus on AI. In fact, what you'll see in our other podcast is the Motor Doc podcast is the ChatGPT 5, which was announced as taking over 50% of all white collar jobs. And when it got released, and we had an early release, it died with a whimper. It started out right away. You could tell that it was it basically selected which GPT to use for you. Obviously had been recalibrated, so it was somewhat accurate right off the bat. But the more we used it during the week, the worse it got, right up to the point where it's right back to what we expected out of one of these LLMs. So especially when you go on longer, when you go on and you start a conversation, you start more accurate, and if you continue through in its effort to please you, it gets more and more and more inaccurate. So that takes me to my pet peeve. So a couple of weeks ago, we were at the IEEE Power Engineering Society's annual general meeting. And my paper, when it was going through review, was on real field data related to electrical and current signature analysis for wind turbines. And the focus on that had to do more with getting the information together on how ESA and MCSA see the entire powertrain, both the radial movement of the rotor and the torsional movement, and relating that to the magnetic field. So it long, complicated, and drawn out. But it was based on real field data. What we were doing was applying a model to what we found, meaning that we came up with a mathematical model, not a software model, not an AI model. So went through hell trying to get that paper published, because I kept being asked, what model did I use? Was it MATLAB? Was it this? Was it that? And I kept trying to explain it was real field data. I remember back in the 90s when real field data was how we got things done. Then we would look for reasons why we were observing what we were observing, or maybe we might use simulation and other things, especially in industrial engineering on shop floor stuff, in order to, hold on a second, this stuff's actually good. Yeah. Ooh, definitely tangy. I like that. You're drinking coffee. So, and don't put anything in it. Do not put anything in it. It's smooth with you feel it on the tongue. So in any case, what I got was moved to the poster session. So that means that we made a poster up and had it up there. I'll include the image somewhere in here. In any case, so 8:45. We put the poster up and everything else. There were 600 total posters, including mine. And I happen to be moved to 1001 because all the other speaking spaces have been taken. So what was interesting was that Amara went around and took a look at everything for me, was that my poster was the only practical application paper at all. Everything else was simulation, synthetic data, and everything. Basically, no real world stuff. And as we went through the week, everybody was talking about models and AI and data centers, and part of the focus was on the Iberian Peninsula, and everything, especially from academia, was focused completely on synthetic data. Now, over the past several years, this is becoming more and more of a problem for me, because I go in and I'm saying, this is not how it works. We run into it in the field. This is how it works, not this. So the and as a matter of fact, a prior year, I was at a conference and I said, "Wait a minute, you're saying that you do this particular thing. Where are you getting the data?" Well, we're getting the data from a model in, MATLAB, Python, whatever. And we use that data to test our stuff. So that's great. There's a problem with that. And that problem is that you can generate synthetic data to meet the conclusions that you want. Looks like I have a bit of a problem here. Here we go. The neighborhood must be starting up again. Part of the reason I like to start these early is so I don't lose connection. I've been losing connection. So in any case, the problem with synthetic data or AI or model generated data is you can generate a model to get whatever conclusion you're looking for. You don't have the outliers, the chaos of what goes on in the real world. And so this is a concern because they're making decisions on everything related to, and this is the reason why there's this big push for AI, and we've got to be the leaders in AI. I'll add to this in just a second, but synthesized or synthetic data, that's the new term for basically made up crap. So I can sit here and I'm going to be posting something in a little bit. We're running the simulations now. I'm going to take all these videos and it's going to look fantastic. But it's done in MATLAB, and the end result was something that looks good as far as an explanation of what happens in the magnetic field in an electric machine, but it's not real. It's synthesized and it's supposed to be exaggerated, but even how it shows up in the field is not quite accurate. So we're working on more advanced stuff because I need something that works. So we spent hours developing a model, and I could take this and I could show it, and everybody would go ooh and ah, and that's the whole point. It's not correct. It will do for an explanation, and everybody can go, oh, that's what happens. But from my standpoint, it's not really what you end up seeing in reality. It meets my needs for what I'm doing, but I'm not going to use it because it's not accurate. So in any case, that's my big pet peeve from the past few weeks is as you're going through everything, it's all synthetic. Now with the ChatGPT bit and what we're running into, everybody keeps going on, well, it does this and it does that. And I don't know if you realize, but in the executive order, basically, it's going to make it even harder for people to protect their IP because now everything is fair use. So because it's an emergency, you're going to have a harder time protecting yourself so that these companies don't have to pay attention to whose data they're getting, whether the data is accurate or not, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's part of the reason why we get hallucinations is because the crap that it's trained on, which is the internet, including some really bad suggestions if you're using software, if you're using it for software development from places like GitHub and other discussion sites where, somebody will ask a question and people will give answers, right? It's doing well for us, but we actually have experienced programmers in our staff that go through anything that we use the software for in programming. And that'll be another presentation I do from last week's Vibration Institute in an upcoming vlog on the other side. I've got to get caught up in these. We had back-to-back conferences. I've got several more professional papers I have to get written and published here shortly. So, it'll be a little behind. In any case, the problem we have right now is that it's generalized a little bit. I mean, it's not horrible. And I can go and I can access kind of an advanced version of an old search engine, in effect, that'll put things together for me. That's the power of a transformer, a machine learning algorithm, by the way, not AI. It's a machine learning algorithm per the very papers that have been published on it. The very first paper in 2017 on the transformer or the large language model refers to it as a machine learning algorithm. The term AI is a marketing term, and AGI, and oh my God, the world's going to be taken over by a language model, a chatbot. So, and I guess it's right. They're right. It is being taken over quite a bit by hype. So it cannot learn anything new. It cannot generate, it cannot think through anything new. You can do new things with it based upon past history. So you're building off the shoulders of giants, right? You are not generating something brand new. As a matter of fact, at one point, I asked an earlier version, I think it was 3.5 or 4.0 or OT4, one of those. I asked it to produce a paper on a specific topic, and it practically produced one of the papers that I had published because I'm the only one to have published on that topic. And so it produced information based on that. So I could have, if somebody else had created that, I could have identified it as plagiarism. So it is, and I believe I did a presentation on that, over a year ago. You have to remember, all this stuff started 3 years ago, less than 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. All of this hype started. So this is all brand new stuff. So I'm waiting for it to calm down a little bit. So based on old data, stuff's been trained. It wasn't until just over a year ago that it's opened up to the internet overall. We're having a hard time keeping up with the ethical stuff as far as IEEE standards, IEC standards, other standards, and everything else, because they're leaping forward faster than we are. So with that, I'm going to end today. Stay cool, enjoy your coffee, and I'll speak again next time.